Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining me today. I know it is not Thursday. I postponed our live stream till today so I could attend a hearing in Queens yesterday for the Gotti grandsons. And, I was very interested in their case in that, I guess, that world. I don't necessarily dip my toes in that world, so to speak. But, none of my audience seemed to be really interested, which is kind of funny. But anyway, if you're new here, I'm Lauren Conlin. Welcome to Pop Crime TV. Hi, guys in the chat. Hey, Camo. Hey, Asha. Hey, Andy, Gulf Coast Girl, Maytal. You're on your power walk. I love it. Dizzy, yay. Hi, Carrie. How are the babies? Yeah, so, I'm glad I went because it was really interesting. Oh shit, sorry, my phone just dropped. God, Friday. So it was interesting because I've never been to Queens Criminal Court and it was gross. It was really, really gross. I mean, listen, Manhattan Criminal Court is also disgusting, but Queens was kind of on another level. But when I got into the courtroom, it was, hey NDT, hey Dreamlet. When I got into the courtroom, it was, there was a ton of people there waiting to get their traffic violations dismissed and all this stuff. So it was, it was quite a wait. And I actually sat right in front of the Gotti brothers who didn't want to talk to me. They were very polite, by the way, very polite. But I would kind of turn around and be like, just trying to make conversation. And they were just like, no. And then I got yelled at like 17 times by the clerks. And I mean, I whisper in court, when there's nothing really going on and it's not that big of a problem. But in Queens, apparently it was a problem yesterday. So after the hearing, which if you didn't hear, they were upcharged with an obstruction. At first, it was just third-degree assault and I think it was harassment, something like that. And now they added an obstruction charge. So I thought that was a little interesting. And this stems from John Gotti Jr.'s brother-in-law breaking into his house. John Gotti Jr. is married to this guy, Gino Gabrielle's sister. So Gino broke into his house, stole a bunch of money, apparently some jewelry as well. And he was arrested for this and charged with a bunch of felonies. And wait, this is weird. I'm going to tell you something else that's super weird. Hey, Harlem. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Steven. Yeah, no, dude, it smelled. It literally smelled in the courtroom. It smelled like butt. But so, yeah, so Gino was arrested, but apparently that wasn't good enough. So the Gottis went to confront him and then this fight broke out. And I guess Gino's mom, John Gotti's mother-in-law tried to sort of jump in and she accidentally got hit. And then Gino gave a interview to the New York Post that kind of said, oh yeah, and Peter Gotti was there and he didn't do anything. And so I don't think they like that either. But anyway, so I spoke to their lawyer, Frankie Gotti's lawyer, actually, and he was just like, we're not taking anything less than a dismissal for this case. I was like, oh, okay. Because apparently there's video footage. Hey, Derek. So when they got up there, I thought it was also interesting that Frankie's attorney was really laughing and joking with the prosecutor, like very friendly. She was just like having a great time up there. And she offered 10 days community service for just a guilty plea. And if they didn't comply with the community service, they would have to do 15 days in jail, whatever, easy. And he said no. They both said no. I was like, what? And then after, I'm talking to Jeff Nadeau on his channel. He is like a mob expert. He's like, yeah, the Gottis, they don't plead guilty. They don't admit to anything. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. But then he brings on Gino Gabrielle, which I was just like, wait, what? The brother-in-law who comes on and says that all of his felony charges got dropped. I'm like, what? Like the burglary charges. So I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Now, Gino is a snitch. He has snitched before. So there's that. But this was in a federal case, I'm pretty sure. So like the one he snitched. So I was like, that's kind of weird. I don't have any paperwork. I cannot prove this. I don't understand why they would drop felony charges against this guy. No idea. But that's what he's saying. I did ask the lawyer yesterday for Frankie Gotti, and he's like, I can't give you a comment. So I was like, okay. But anyway, so that was my day yesterday. And yeah, then I went on with Jeff, who's great. If you're looking for a mob channel, his podcast is called The Sit Down with Jeff Nadeau, and it's really interesting. So he was great to talk to after, because I really had no idea, what I was talking about. Oh, but outside of the courtroom, when I went to sort of like chase them down, they were with like, their dad and another kind of big guy. And he actually said, he looked at me and he's like, "Are you the podcaster Lauren Conlon?" I was like, "Maybe." I was like, "Do you like her?" I was like, "Do we like Lauren? Because if you like her, then yes, I'm Lauren." But no, he just goes like, I know who you are. And I was like, "Okay, so you know that I'm friendly. I'm not looking to stir anything up. I'm not looking to fabricate anything, to sensationalize anything. I just want the truth." And he's like, "Okay, see you later." So I thought that was really funny. I was like, okay. Beautiful disaster. Good morning. So then last night, I did Jeff's show. I was really tired yesterday too, by the way. I just did not sleep. So I had another podcast to record. I didn't get to that yet. And oh my gosh, again, I was supposed to interview Robert Rand for the Menendez brothers. So you've noticed that interview hasn't been posted yet because I haven't done it yet. He had an emergency pretty much 2 days in a row. So hopefully we'll get to that interview, next week, I hope. Morning, Les. Yes, don't forget to hit like. Good morning. Good morning. And so, yeah, so then later that day, I did Alex Stein's show he's from the Blaze TV. And I had fun. I just felt like nobody was there to see me. They were really there for the other guest who was on this very niche show called Fish Tank. Yeah, her name is, I had never heard of the show. I had to look it up. I guess it's like this reality show that got shut down because they do such crazy stuff. So yeah, so I did that, and I had fun. We talked about Diddy, we talked about Epstein, and a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, let's get to the topics today. So this is okay. I have some thoughts here, and I think that the medical examiner's office here is being very coy. But this beautiful girl, her name is Martha Nolan-O'Slatarra. I'm not quite sure. I've heard her last name pronounced many different ways, but she was unfortunately found deceased in Montauk at the Montauk Yacht Club on August 5th on a boat. It was called the Ripple. So this boat was, maybe 40 feet. And Martha, she was from Ireland. She was a fashion designer. And I'll give you guys sort of like a background here just about Montauk in general. And I guess, maybe the Hamptons, but Montauk is one of those places where you are either a local. Montauk was a fisherman's town before it got really trendy all of a sudden and sort of became the very end of the Hamptons. Because some people are like, well, I don't understand. Is Montauk or is it the Hamptons? And I'm kind of like, it's both. Montauk is Montauk, but again, it's also very close to East Hampton. Like without traffic, you could get there in 10 or 15 minutes. So that's why the East Hampton police are also involved. So again, my point is Montauk is like locals, or it does have this population of Irish people that come for the summer just to work in all of the beach clubs and the resorts, because it's a very seasonal town. So they do bring people in like right off the boat from Ireland. So if you guys visit there, you'll notice a lot of the servers at the restaurants, a lot of the people that work at the bars and hospitality, they all have Irish accents and whatnot. So there's those people. And then you've got, people like me and families who come just to, maybe they have a house or maybe they just stay for the weekend, whatever. And then you've got the young 20 somethings, 30 somethings that do the share houses and stuff. So it's not a murdery town. I will just say that. Of course, anything is possible. But what we know about her death is that there was screaming right before her body was discovered, but there were no signs of violence that police found. And I guess it was her boyfriend that was screaming and that found her. And so Purple Yellow, this is what I was thinking. It sounds like an overdose. That's exactly what I was thinking. But I guess I don't know if I should say but. The autopsy is inconclusive, let's say, right now. Authorities are saying that they need more information. So let me pull up, let's see. Let me pull up what was recently just said. New details. Sorry, it takes me like a minute to find what I'm looking for. Yeah, did not show evidence of violence. An autopsy determined that the victim did not show signs of a violent death, but police have yet to announce a cause of death or any details surrounding her mysterious death. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's crazy. The boyfriend, let's see. Her boyfriend, I don't think he is from Ireland. He, again, is the boat owner. The boat is registered in Long Beach, New York. But somebody told the Daily Mail that whenever they saw her boyfriend, he was always drunk or messed up on something, which could go back to the whole, possible overdose thing. But apparently when he found her, he was running outside naked, screaming, "That's my girlfriend." He tried to get help from other boaters. And some reports state that the boat that she was found on was tied to like an anchored buoy offshore. But then other reports say that the boat was at the dock. The photos all show the boat being, tied to the dock. So I'm not actually sure, but let me see. The Montauk Yacht Club hasn't really spoken out about anything. They have been asking reporters to leave the property and press to leave the area. But, I don't think it was a murder. I think it was an accidental death of some sort. Her boyfriend sounds troubled. But again, this is crazy also. So my friend Liz, she's a fitness influencer, trainer. She's an entrepreneur. She runs a lot of these pop-up companies that you see in the Hamptons, giving out these drinks or whatever. But she has this one event she's doing, and it's called like Coffee and Chill. And it's where you go into plunge pools and drink coffee and whatever. And this girl, Marta, would have pop-up fashion shops. So my friend Liz texted me and she was like, "Dude, I was just texting with this girl to try to figure out an event we could do together." She's like, "I am just so shook by this." She was so nice. She was so, friendly and seemed like a go-getter. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that really is so sad. I feel horrible. But there's there's a lot of questions. Was she seen earlier in the night? What was she doing? What were her mannerisms? What was her boyfriend doing? Was he acting weird? No, so you didn't misunderstand the story. Sorry if I was being unclear. So she is originally from Ireland, but she's lived in the city for a long time. And I had mentioned that in Montauk, this is just a side note, a lot of people from Ireland go to Montauk just for the summer. That's just completely separate. For the summer to work, because you can make a lot of money working there just for the summer. So yeah, she was so beautiful. Hey, Sheila, good to see you. So, that's really weird. I think that, again, Montauk and the Hamptons are super rocked by this just because this stuff doesn't really happen at all. So I think that they're a little on edge. They want to make sure that the community is safe. And, I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anyone put out any type of press conference, law enforcement or district attorney's office or otherwise saying, there's no threat to the community. Everybody's safe. They haven't really done that. They've just kind of said no violence has really been reported. So yeah, there's that. Whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to make everyone aware of that. Nancy Grace did an episode about this yesterday. And they were like, oh, can you join? I was like, no, I'm going to the Gotti hearing, but I really wanted to join because I really wanted to explain Montauk in this one area. And also the fact that where she was doing the pop-up, her pop-up shop, this whatever she, her clothing line was at Gurney's in Montauk. And Gurney's is like the nicest place in Montauk. It's so expensive. I mean, it's a beautiful resort. I think regular rooms there probably are like $900 a night for the cheapest room. And you have to have like a 3-night minimum. It's just crazy. So very wealthy area. People have money. Possibly they, I don't know. I don't want to say you could take advantage of or one could take advantage of a young woman trying to grow her business and whatnot. But yeah, someone could easily be taken advantage of by some of these people, some of the characters that are there. But anyway, wanted to make you all aware of this case. Very sad, but I think we'll find out more, and hopefully, there was no foul play. However, I feel like that boyfriend is being questioned right now, like every day at the station for hours. That's just sort of how I feel. But let's get to Diddy. I'm gonna pull up an interview. Actually, I'm gonna change my banner so everybody knows we're talking Diddy. Diddy update, lawyers, MDC, pardons, etc. Okay. So this is interesting. Let me pull up this interview that I want to play, or clips of the interview rather, because Diddy's attorneys, all of us are doing interviews, and I don't want to say all of them, but I guess it was Nicole Westmoreland and Mark Agnifilo. Nicole Westmoreland, she did CNN, and then Agnifilo did CBS. And oh my gosh, I love Jerica from CBS who did the interview. She's so great. She was at the trial pretty much every day. I think she's also an attorney maybe, but something that I thought was, I don't know, I think they kind of need to get their story straight here, because Nicole Westmoreland goes on CNN and she says, it's my understanding, that we have asked for a pardon for Diddy. And Mark Agnifilo goes on CBS and he's like, yeah, we want a pardon, sure, but like we didn't ask for that. Like his legal team didn't do that. And so I'm like, okay, that's interesting. You guys might want to sort of, maybe start a group chat or something like that. Because it's like, look, requesting a pardon is not something that, I think you can do without a lawyer. I mean, I guess technically you could, but I don't know if you guys have ever just Googled like how to request a federal pardon, how to request clemency. I mean, it's difficult. I would be like, okay, I am lost. You need help. So I think the average person would probably, and especially someone in Diddy's position who has endless resources, I don't think their kid would just kind of be like, yeah, let me just start filling out these forms on my own without going to a lawyer. Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, what is the real story? Did he not ask for a pardon, or did he ask for a pardon? Because if the lawyers are not involved, who filled out all these forms? So I'm not buying it. I think it's really interesting how this stuff just seems to get twisted. And that's my opinion. And Maytal, no, he doesn't. And I would say I know this because as soon as I saw interviews being done, Nicole, Mark, I feel like I am good. Something I'm good at, I'm a little annoying, I'm a little aggressive, but I am good at making relationships. So I did make some relationships with some people involved there. And so I started texting and emailing, and I was just like, okay, when's it my turn for an interview? I want an interview. And they're like, okay, well, it shouldn't be a problem. Let me check on XYZ. the thing is that some of these attorneys are already promised to big networks on a certain date. So, and I won't, give you the exact details of who and what, but it's like, okay, this network, let's say NBC, and I'm just making that up, they have said they want Brian Steele right after sentencing. I don't know if money is involved in that. Obviously, I wasn't like offering money. But I did say, okay, this is my plan to hopefully make the interview go viral. And I think that I feel like some of them know me now just because of the trial, and they know that I'm not going to spin anything or clip it or do anything, sketchy like that. So I am hopefully going to be working on getting an interview. And if I do, I'm going to rent a studio in Midtown and just make it, just really, really fun, really great. So if you pray, just pray. If you don't, just send me good vibes and good energy. Oh my gosh, are you guys serious? Heat index in the 110s. That's insane. I'm so sorry. That's crazy. So hey, Daisha. So Mark Agnifilo, he did say some interesting things. I mean, like I said, one thing was the whole, like, we didn't ask for a pardon. So I'm kind of like, okay, which is it, guys? Get on that group thread and figure it out. Oh yeah. Wait, that's a really good idea. I totally forgot. Academics. I should totally use his studio. You are so smart, Lucas. Sometimes I just hate, I know I sound like a hypocrite when I say, I hate asking people for things. I clearly have no problem asking people to like be on the show or for an interview or for a source or whatever. I guess I hate asking favors like that where I feel like I'm putting someone out. So, but he did offer, you're right. He totally offered. So yeah, that would be awesome. So yes, Agnifilo talked about the pardons. He talked about, yes, I did get Mark Garagos, but he technically is not on the official defense team. That's pretty much the only reason why, I think. And he's been, he's got his own show with Harvey Levin. So he's sort of been doing interviews throughout this whole thing. And I guess I mean like on the mainstream media and whatnot, whatever. Yeah, you guys are all so funny. You're also like, yeah, academic studio. No, you're all super on it. Okay, so yeah, so he talked about that. He talked about, he was asked about Kathy and Diddy and calling their relationship a modern love story. And Jerica was kind of like, so you're calling this a modern love story, but she claims that he raped her. She claims that, because of him, she was addicted to drugs and all this stuff. And Mark Agnifilo, he, I've said this before, he really does come across so normal, not sleazy and likable. So when his answer to that, he was just like, he sat there and he was like, he said, we have our reasons, that we believe Cassie said this about the grape for XYZ reasons, meaning it's not true, but we think we know why she said it. I was like, really? I wanted her to be like, what were the reasons? I really wanted more to that. I really, yeah. Sorry, MJ, what was the question? I said, how do we know that a formal pardon request? Yeah, no, I was just saying, I don't know that a formal pardon request was turned in because, again, Agnifilo said, we didn't do it. Nicole Westmoreland said, it's my understanding, which, if you guys have seen some of my videos with Jack Fox, whatever, it's my understanding is not the same as we requested a pardon. I don't think she actually knew either. And that's speculation. But I said, MJ, if you missed it, I was just looking up all the paperwork and stuff on how to formally request a pardon. It's difficult. I would think, someone at Diddy's level would need a lawyer involved, to cross the T's, dot the I's. So if Agnifilo is like, nope, we didn't fill this out, I think I'm kind of surprised. I also talked to someone else that was heavily involved, in Diddy's situation, and they were like, nope. So I don't think it really happened. But that's just me. Let me see. Sidebar. Have you seen the escorts interviews? Which ones, NDT? I told you to send me. Can you email me? You said something to me the other day about an escort on the Shade Room, maybe. But can you send me the link, if you don't mind? Yeah, I'm just curious. So he said that. He also said, Diddy. He said the conditions at MDC are just, they're worse. I think Diddy, his cell was like infested with maggots or something like that. Or I don't even, it was like just more complaints about the jail. So that wasn't necessarily anything new. Oh, okay. It's Art of the Dialogue YouTube page. Yeah. If someone wants to send that to me, I would love to see it. Love to see it. Let me see. She said oh, yes. Thank you so much for that. Okay. That could be what he was talking about, Agnifilo. For those of you who are just joining, he had said to Jerica, he said, well, we have reasons to think that she said this about the assaults for whatever reasons. He didn't clarify. I wanted her to be like, why? And okay, I think you're right. Got it. Yeah, I didn't see that interview. I'm going to have to check it out. Oh, and also I told this content creator that I met at the trial, Secret Service Sam. He lives in LA. I said that I would go on a live stream with him today. It's going to be noon Eastern. He's on the West Coast, but he said he's going to go in front of the Intercontinental Hotel. So I've never seen the LA Intercontinental Hotel. So he's going to go in front of there and we're going to do a live from there. So yeah, if you're interested, I can pin the link after. I think it's on YouTube, but he's like very big on TikTok, I think. But I will play some of Mark's interview if you guys haven't seen it, because again, the lawyer interviews are so interesting. But as I watch these, I have some of the same questions, but I have so many other different questions, like so many other questions that probably wouldn't fly in the mainstream media. Do you know what I mean? Like questions that I just kind of maybe aren't super important, but I want to know the answers. Let me see.
That have spoken.
Hold on.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for taking the time. Like I said, I know you've been.
Thank you for coming to my office.
Incredibly busy. And there was a moment in the beginning where you were able to speak to some of us reporters. And then very early on, it was clear. I think our last interview was me walking and talking with you and you just talking about the defense that you were building. And that was it after that.
Yeah, we were pretty shut down during the trial by design. Mm-hmm. We had asked the judge actually for a little bit of a gag order and the judge gave it to us. So we had to and wanted to sort of abide by that and kind of keep it out of the press. I mean, try the case in the courtroom, which we feel that we did.
So, of course, I want to start with July 2nd. Okay. You go up to the microphone. There's about a dozen microphones there. Everyone's smiling.
Right.
You step up first. You're the lead attorney for this case. Mm-hmm. Today is a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system. You said you saw this coming.
Yeah, I saw it coming.
That morning.
I did.
Wow.
I saw it coming. I saw it coming that morning when the jury said that they had verdicts on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, but not on count 1. I thought that it must be that they split on the Mann Acts on the one side and then the sex trafficking on the other side. Because if it would have been all the way one or the other, they would have agreed, I think, on the racketeering conspiracy. Mm-hmm. So my guess was that they convicted him.
That was my initial thought. I don't know if you guys remember that. That was my initial thought. And then somebody reminded me that the racketeering charge, you needed to have the co-conspirator. And I was like, oh, right. So maybe they're, because at first I was like, well, maybe they're hung up on the sex trafficking with Cassie. But no, I went back and forth. And then I don't know if you guys remember, I showed you guys that stupid website, Sportskeeda, they were like, Lauren Conlon thinks that, and listen, I looked at that website. I mean, they do get traffic, but I don't think that a lot of people, check their weird gossip stuff, but it was like Lauren Conlon thinks Diddy will be found guilty of sex trafficking Cassie. And they put up a tweet that I wrote and I was like, wait, I didn't say that literally at all. And it's fine. Like I said, it's not like a big deal because no one actually reads it. But if someone were to Google my name and like look up, news articles, like recent ones, that would come up. And I'm like, wait, I actually literally never said that at all, but whatever. What do I know? I guess who cares?
And of the prostitution, the Mann Act counts, and acquitted on the sex trafficking.
Take me back to just that moment, because I've heard you talk about how you didn't really sleep a lot during this trial.
True.
And that you typically don't sleep a lot to begin with. But what went into this case? It had to be, I'm sure, the most publicized in the 35 years that you've been practicing law.
True. Yes, definitely the most publicized of my entire career, by a long way.
Yes,
I mean, Ranieri was publicized, Martin Shkreli was publicized. I've been blessed to have a lot of cases that people care about, but nothing close to this. And the press was every little thing. I mean, I thought the press was very aware of what was going on in the courtroom. They covered it very closely. I thought they covered it actually fairly accurately. And so it was a tremendous amount of preparation, a lot of pressure trying to keep the team together, a lot of pressure because, Sean Combs, I mean, I believed in my heart that he was innocent. The prosecution's tricky, but we're still sort of fighting that. And so there's a lot of pressure to win. And that's what this was all about.
For people who were not inside the courtroom, there was cheering, praying, celebration. There was a moment where Combs had his hand up, and in real time, we're watching as a decision is made and he's not going to speak. It seemed like he wanted to say something in that moment. Is that true, or what was going on?
I think he did. I think he wanted to speak to the judge. I think he's not someone who's used to people speaking on his behalf. I mean, I think he became Sean Combs, and he built all the things that he built by being the front and center guy. And this was a real adjustment for him.
Yep.
And so I think it's not natural for him to sit back and let others speak on his behalf. But we also told him that was best and that's what was going to happen. And he agreed.
Was this the most challenging case that you've ever tried in your career?
That's a great question. It's up there. I mean, I've had missile trafficking, trials. I've had political corruption trials. When I was a prosecutor, I prosecuted serial killer hitmen. So they're all different. This was probably the most difficult in terms of getting the team together. I never had a defense team like in this case, and I was lucky to have such a great group of lawyers, but
from all over the country.
I mean, we had Brian Steele and Nicole Westmoreland from Atlanta. I mean, gifted, great lawyers. We had Xavier Donaldson, Alexander Shapiro, Jason Driscoll, Anna Esteval, me and Tenny. And so we really had this great group of lawyers, but we needed a leader, and I'm not really a natural leader. I'm just not. I'm a trial lawyer. It's different. It's a different skill set. And I've never really tried to be a leader or had to be a leader. I'm a soldier.
Guys, I'm sorry. Am I crazy? Somebody tell me I'm crazy. I really like him. I really think he is he seems like a good guy. And I just being around him for 7 weeks, I feel like he's really genuine and really honest. And he's just not a sleazy, lying, how certain defense attorneys get horrible reputations. He is not like that. And I think that, Diddy, he picked his lawyers well. He really could have picked these slick lawyers that did not connect with the jury. And I think that is so important, as a defendant. I mean, I go back to the Karen Reed trial. Alan Jackson does have a huge fan base. He's an incredible lawyer. But then you've also got a group of people who really think that he's too slick. Do you know what I mean? They think that he's too slick and they don't like that. And so with Mark Agnifilo, you don't have that. You don't have that push-pull at all. It's almost like with him, no news is good news. Like people aren't really talking about him either way. So I just find him like such a low-key guy, like such a low-key hitter. And that's me. But even with this interview, I'm super impressed by him. With the gag order, especially, I mean, he brought this up. He knew that this case was being tried in the media totally the wrong way. And I admit to that. I added to that before the trial. I don't want to say that I was not super diligent, but I have admitted this. I was taking civil suits as facts. I was ready to walk in that courtroom, hear about minors, hear about multiple rapes by multiple different people. I mean, I just, I was ready for that because of what was going on in the media. So it was smart of him to just, put a stop to all of this. So, yeah. Hi. Oh my gosh, I love when Jack is here. Jack, did you hear me? Did you hear me talking about you before? Your ears must be ringing. That's so funny. All right, press play again. And I'm going to go a little faster just so we can, this might be too fast though. Let me know.
Soldier, and I'm proud to be a soldier. So this was a different role. And I had to kind of like step into the role. I mean, I kind of saw my team needed that. And we needed harmony. We needed, we have great lawyers who are used to all being front and center. We all needed, including myself. Right. We have to leave our egos at the door. We have to do what's best for Mr. Combs. And so that was challenging. And then, the government was very well prepared. They had 6 outstanding prosecutors. I mean, it's a marquee case for what many say is the best prosecutor's office maybe in the world, the Southern District of New York. And this is probably their biggest case of the, not so new century. And so it was high stakes. It's, it's Game 7 in Yankee Stadium. And so it's pressure.
The stakes are still high. Presently,
True.
Just this week, the judge, Arun Subramanian, said no to bail. Second time that he's done this.
True.
How many times have you sought bail for Sean Combs?
So I counted because I've never been 0 for 5 in a case in my career. And I've tried to get bail for Mr. Combs 5 times and I'm 0 for 5. So I made the Yankee Stadium reference. If I was up at bat and 0 for 5, outing is not so great.
Does that hurt you later with sentencing just because you have made these arguments over and over again, obviously with different judges, but with this judge twice and more recently, the judge cited evidence of violence and coercion and said that concerns about Combs' safety. The judge said that he acknowledged the staff had been able to keep him safe even during an incident of threatened violence from an inmate. So in your opinion, you speak to Sean Combs often. What is going on at the Metropolitan Detention Center that you're saying you believe he's in danger?
So he's a very public personality and it was a very public trial. I think that there is always the risk that some people are going to be envious or jealous, maybe jealous that he might be going home before they do. And so, I think it's been more challenging for the outstanding staff at the MDC to kind of step up, do the things that they need to do to keep, Mr. Combs safe. And they've been doing that. And they've been outstanding with us. And I know that they get their, more than their share of grief from time to time, but they've been very, very good with us and very, very good with Mr. Combs. And I really appreciate the way they've handled things. But it's a challenging situation. Have you brought that issue up
before, though, or is this something that had been building because of recent incidents you talked about in your document? You said that there was an inmate that was stabbed just above Combs. So help us understand sort of from September of 2024 to now how things have changed and why that's something that you brought up.
I think that's largely, the other stabbing, I think, is largely anecdotal. I don't know that has anything to do with our case or Mr. Combs. I think it does not have anything to do with it.
Okay.
But what I've seen, and what he tells me is that it's a little different ever since the verdict, and maybe it's because he's
good or bad?
A little more tense, not from the staff, but from certain people, other inmates. And so, I think that there are a lot of people who really support him among the inmate population. I think a lot of inmates take faith and heart in the fact that someone has won. I mean, all they really tend to see is they lose. You go to trial and you lose, and that's what they see. And so the fact that Mr. Combs won his trial largely, not completely, of course, I think is seen as giving everybody a little bit of hope. That being said, I think that there's lots of different ways people can feel.
What about this consistent thread that Judge Subramanian continues to say? The judge has said the first time when he denied bail that there was an issue of violence and coercion, and he used those same words this week. Your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts are, he was convicted of, he was acquitted of coercion. I mean, that was the sex trafficking count, and a jury of 12 New Yorkers acquitted him of that. Now, I don't think that is going to play a role at the sentencing because he's being sentenced on straight prostitution. But in terms of
violence, though, which you acknowledged in court when you opening statements, not from you, but Tenny, this is not about racketeering conconspiracy. Was there domestic violence? Absolutely.
No
we own that.
We owned it. We owned it then. We own it now. And I said it in the closing, and I say it now. It's large. It's in the past for the most part. There's one event that happened in the summer of 2024 where the woman called Jane admits that she provoked, something that ended up being violent on both sides. His relationships were toxic. He's not proud of that. There was mutual violence, but that doesn't excuse a man being violent toward a woman ever. And we never said that it did.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, he started seeking help, counseling.
But by the way, some people do. I'm kind of glad he said that because if I ever cover this or I talk about the Jane incident in the summer, I usually get called out if I forget to mention that she started it. And yes, she started it, but I'm glad that Agnifilo said that doesn't really give a man an excuse to hit a woman. I mean, clearly a woman shouldn't hit a man either. I'm not saying that's acceptable, but I don't think it's acceptable for I guess, a man to fight back when he is so much larger than the woman. And I know there are different situations, whatever, don't at me, but I am just really glad that he added that in. There's really no excuse for a man to hit a woman. So thank you, Mark. He is sweet. And thank you, Matt. Thank you. Because I've been like trolls for that. Like he started it. I'm like, yeah, and she's like still half his size. And you guys know I'm not like Team Jane. Like I'm not like sitting here like, yeah, anyway.
He was in a program before he was arrested in this case. He was productive. He was going, I'm in touch with the people in the program. And I think that when he gets out, he's going to start that again. I mean, the programming at the MDC is not great. It's really almost non-existent. So we've put together, therapists and people who go in and speak to Mr. Combs. And
how often?
Every 2 weeks. I mean, it's pretty regular. And we did it during the trial, but before the trial as well. And so and I think it's helpful. I mean, I think it's what he needs. I mean, I was in the DA's office when I was 25 years old, and I probably had 200 cases. I bet 30 of them were domestic violence, mostly committed by men. And so this is a well-worn path, in the criminal justice system of men being violent with their domestic partners. And I think the best way to deal with it is therapy, counseling. A lot of times the partners don't want them to go to jail. They want them to get help. They want them to get better. They want them to be the men that they fell in love with, and that's really what I want for Mr. Combs.
When's the last time you spoke to him?
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Today.
What did he say?
We were just talking about, sentencing and some of the questions you're asking about, what does the judge's ruling on bail, how does that relate to sentencing? And I explained to him it really is two completely different things, and it's two different sort of bodies of laws and rules. So, the bases by which a judge can keep someone in jail are very different than the bases on which the judge sentences the person.
Do you speak to him every day?
Every day, several times a day.
Does he know you're doing this interview?
I think he does, but not from me.
Okay.
I think he was told.
Is there anything that he can say that he wanted to get through, because you are now speaking more publicly about the case and just sort of what's next? But maybe a better question, what is it that Sean Combs wants people to know? Because he's, limited to what he can say.
Yeah. So he wants people to know that I think that he has reflected on the blessings that he's been given, on the imperfections that I think he sees in himself, just like we all have. I think he wants to be a better, more present father than he's ever been. I think he wants to start small. I think he wants to get out of jail, reestablish, a loving, present relationship with all of his 7 children. He wants to take care of his mother. His mother is she's going to get mad at me. She's getting older, which is beautiful and fashionable as always. But he wants to get back in his life. I think the larger goals are down the road. Does he want to get back into music? Does he want to get back into business? I think he's someone who is always going to strive to do something, exceptional and probably demanding and challenging. But I think the most demanding and challenging thing in front of him right now is to get back with his kids and get back with his mother and the people who love him and miss him.
So he's talked to you.
Do you guys think I should, do you think I should text Charlucci to see if he wants to join, if he has any updates on this stuff with the pardons? Because it is, and they haven't gotten there yet, but I wonder, I'll send him a link and just see if he wants to pop on to give any updates. I'm wondering if he has any additional information here, because yeah, I'm curious. And oh my gosh, I did not know that Shapiro did 2 Angry Lawyers. I love her so much. Oh my gosh, I'm going to check that out. She's incredible. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Let me play this. And by the way, it's kind of funny. I'm playing this on 1.5. I don't know about you guys. My brain is fine listening to this on 1.5.
You about getting back into music if he's
no. Honestly, he has not. Okay. One thing he said when he's going to be back in Madison Square Garden.
He said that.
He did. He said to me he's going to be back in Madison Square Garden.
Doing what?
I guess being on stage. And I said I'll be there. I want to be right in the front. So we'll see. We'll make it happen.
So you talk to him every day. How long do these conversations typically last?
Sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 15 minutes, usually several times a day. Either on something called the VTC, it's like a Zoom setup. I go see him. I'm going to see him tomorrow morning. So I spend a lot of time physically with him in the jail, but also on these videos.
Mark, I know there's been so much celebration about what he was acquitted of, but he's still facing 2 felony convictions. Each count carries up to 10 years behind bars. Are you preparing him for the worst, or are you optimistic that he's not going to get a lot of time, if any time, or he'll get a pardon?
Yes, guys,
the pardon, that's not my end of the business. I know really nothing about that.
Sorry.
But
you're the lead attorney, and Nicole Westmoreland said that there have been conversations.
Sorry, this is important. I'm sorry. And by the way, I talk over this so I don't get a copyright infringement. So just forgive me.
That's not my end of the business. I know.
If any time, or he'll get a pardon.
Right. The pardon, that's not my end of the business. I know really nothing about that. But
you're the lead attorney, and Nicole Westmoreland said that there have been conversations.
She did. I I know mostly what I know from what the president has said.
But wait, how are you the lead attorney?
You know,
and she's saying that the team has had conversations with the White House, with the administration.
I can just tell you what I have had conversations with nobody.
You haven't spoken to the president?
I have not. No, not. I have not spoken to the president. I have not spoken to anybody who speaks to the president about Sean Combs. I have not.
So she said, and I just want to quote Nicole Westmoreland, who's part of the team, said that it's her understanding that we have reached out and had conversations, that they have spoken to people who would be responsible for the pardon process. And at a time where I think there's a lot of attention, not just on the president and his actions, but on what will happen here with Sean Combs. You mean to tell me that you really have nothing to do with a possible pardon right now?
Nothing. I have nothing to do with a possible pardon. I mean, I have my hands full with, sentencing and bail. I mean, really, I'm not involved at all. So,
okay.
Like I said, I know it's
You would be honest with me, right?
Of course I would. I'm not on TV.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's out there. I know it's out there. I know that every once in a while the president will say something about it.
Anyway.
I don't know how seriously the president's taking it. I don't know kind of where his mind is with it, but I know that I want to work really hard to get him a good sentence.
What is Sean Combs saying about the possibility of the pardon? Is he asking you, the team, see what you can do by any means necessary? Like, what is his take on what he's willing to do or go through to be free?
I think he knows I'm not political. So he doesn't talk to me about it at all. I mean, we've never discussed it other than I tell him what's in the news about it. But
and what's his reaction? Does he laugh? Does he say, let's look into it?
Go tell him that I need a pardon. Go tell him I deserve a pardon. That's what he said. Go tell him I deserve a pardon.
Oh.
And I say, all right, so let's talk about your sentencing.
So you steer him back to what you're facing right now.
Yes, very much so. I'm a one-trick pony. I really am. I'm a courtroom guy. That's what I do. That's my forum. That's all I know. I'm a registered independent. I'm not political, and so I don't do anything about that.
So going back to the serious nature still of felony convictions, how are you preparing him? Are you telling him, listen, it could be on the higher side, it could be consecutively versus concurrently?
So I tell him what the guidelines are. And the guidelines are about 2 or 3 years. And I tell him, the judge could go above the guidelines. That's rare, but possible. The judge could go below the guidelines. That's less rare in the Southern District of New York, and possible. And the emphasis now is the same as the emphasis on the trial, is just to put the best effort forward to show Judge Subramanian all the reasons why leniency is appropriate, why the violence is in his past, why he's dealing with the violence. And at the end of the day, he wasn't convicted for anything having to do with violence. I mean, the jury affirmatively acquitted him of all of that. So we have to make all of those arguments the right way, the legal way, to the court.
Because this bail was denied, and that's what sort of we're dealing with now. It's less than 60 days before October 3rd is still the day. What do you think will happen on sentencing day?
I can't possibly, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think Judge Subramanian's been fair throughout. He'll be fair here. Our fate is in our own hands, I feel. I feel like if we do a good job explaining the situation to our judge, I think we'll get a fair and reasonable sentence. I hope Mr. Combs goes home soon. I think he's paid a tremendous debt for what he's done. He's done things wrong. He was convicted of crimes, and he's done other things wrong. And we were forthcoming, as part of our trial presentation as to all of that. And I think in some ways he's a better person because of it.
What does he tell his children?
I actually don't know. I mean, I know he talks to them a lot. They're very present in his life.
I was going to say, day one, we saw 6 of his 7 children in the courtroom. You said that in your conversations with him, he talks about, wanting to establish that relationship, wanting to get back home. How difficult, I guess, has that been for him, trying to father behind bars, from behind bars?
It's very difficult because 4 of the kids, with him in jail, 4 of the kids have no parents at all. I mean, their mother passed away, and Mr. Combs is in jail. Correct. And I think he feels very, very bad about that. And I think he feels like he really wants to get back so that those kids have a parent, present to be their father, because they don't have a mother at this point, which is, tragic in general, but doubly tragic because, Mr. Combs is in jail.
A number of friends and family, I understand, have submitted letters. Was that for the bail hearing? Was that for the sentencing?
So it's for the sentencing.
And what are we to make of someone who accused Combs of domestic violence 5 years ago in a podcast, who then wrote a letter saying he's a good person? And today, I believe, doubled down on an Instagram post saying, why can't people accept that you can forgive people and move on? For those who will look at a letter from someone who was supposed to be victim number 3 in this case and go, she must have been paid, or the attorney clearly wrote that letter. What do you say to that?
She wasn't paid and the attorney didn't write it. I mean, I know she has a lawyer. I don't know between her and her lawyer how that letter was made, but I have every reason to believe that those are her genuine sentiments. And if her lawyer helped her write it, that sometimes happens. I think she's exactly right. And I think she would know. And I don't think she's here to just do him favors. I think this is how she genuinely feels. And I thought that her letter was...
Maytal, I want to just pin this in the chat. Diddy adopted Quincy, to my knowledge. I don't know how present Albie Schur is in his life, either way, but I'm fairly certain that Diddy adopted him a long time ago.
Was very balanced. I think she said, was their relationship perfect? It wasn't perfect. I mean, and she led with that. And she said, but he always tried to do better. She saw him as a father and a loving figure. And I think this is all about redemption. I mean, I was raised Catholic, and I believe in redemption. And I think this is a story of redemption. And I think that's what he wants. He's religious as well. He was raised Catholic and Baptist. He went to Catholic high school. He went to Catholic church every Sunday. He went to Baptist church as well because of his grandmother. And I think he is telling a story of redemption. I think the Sean Combs story is a story of redemption and how important redemption is. And redemption as a function of character, both for the person who's asking for the redemption and for the people who we are asking to redeem that person. And I don't think it's a great gesture of character to carry anger. I think that's what Dina's follow-up is saying. I think it's a great gesture of character if someone really deserves redemption to let them achieve that. And that's really the Combs story right now, is one of redemption.
I want to go back to that last day in court for you, giving your closing argument, 4.5 hours. I heard in another interview that you had something ready and then you weren't comfortable with it. And you went on a walk and you just came with what you said is, tell me a story.
I love
wanting to connect with the jury, which you believe, you had the shared experience with. Some criticized, what you had to say and how you said it. I remember doing an Instagram post myself where you talked about, the Astroglide is off the streets. You said it in a way that was kind of mocking the fact that a lot went into raiding someone's home, and this is what they found. When you look back at that, explain to us, to the viewers, why you felt it was so important to not necessarily have everything written down, not stay behind the podium, but to use your hands to move back and forth. Again, there were no cameras in the courtroom, so we are the eyes and ears for the public. But what went into that? How you were feeling? I mean, to be up there for 4.5 hours.
Good question.
I prepared an outline, and the night before I read it over, and it was factually fine, but it was stale. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't a great story. And I just wanted to tell the jury the story. And so I knew what I wanted to say.
Right.
And I knew that the jury had paid very close attention. So they didn't need me to put emails up on the screen for them to see for the 23rd time. The text messages or whatever the written communications were, they knew that stuff. And they paid very close attention to the testimony. They all took notes. All 17 jurors took notes throughout the entire trial. So they knew this stuff. What they didn't hear, and I didn't think the government really gave them a story, they didn't hear the story of this case. And so I just wanted to tell them a story. And I wanted to put my notes down. I only had 3 pages of handwritten notes anyway, and talk to them and look them in the face and, kind of look at them individually and sort of say, this is the story of this case. This is what the evidence shows.
There's a moment I think lawyers know when they have the audience, the jury. When was that for you?
So it's funny. It's a good question. I wasn't sure if I was going to be sarcastic or not. I wanted to sort of see how it would go. So when I was cross-examining one of the agents, I asked him, I said, so how many cases, how many search warrants have you recovered in Astroglide? And he says, 1. I go, this one. And he was did terrorism cases and all these serious cases. And so I realized, and the jury kind of laughed at that. And so I realized that's going to be my jumping off point because I already have that kind of in the record. So early in my summation, I did the whole thing with, thank goodness they got the Astroglide, they got it off the street. And the jury reacted, well. They laughed, they kind of got it. And there's aspects of this trial. I mean, sarcasm could be a very effective tool, and as a storyteller, you want to use your full complement of tools. And it's sincerity and it's sometimes sarcasm. But at a certain point, it's not so much that I realized that I had the jury. I realized I was with the jury, and that's kind of really where I want to be, and I want to sort of be whatever their space is. I want to be in their space with them. And I realized that I was doing that. I was in that space with them. They were paying very close attention. They were kind of with me on, the different arguments. I kind of knew when they were ready for me to move on.
So I just want to say I'm glad he said that because he basically took cues from the jury, which when he gave his closing argument, I said this, it was questionable to some, but I kept thinking to myself, this team, this $2 million a month legal team, they've been paying attention to the jury. They know the jury's feelings by now based on their faces, their mannerisms. I mean, even like the slightest mannerism, I think that this legal team picked up on, which is why he decided to go the route that he did. And that's exactly why he landed so well with them, because he saw, so it's so funny too, because I think I reported this on Nancy Grace and maybe on my own video that Mark Agnifilo had a mic drop moment with the HSI agent when they had the argument about the guns, how Mark Agnifilo did not even want the guns being shown to the jury because this HSI agent didn't know. He had no factual basis on the fact that they were retrieved from the gun safe in the security room that was locked, all this stuff. So, Mark was kind of angry at this HSI agent, his lack of knowledge, whatever. And so he did decide, he decided at the end of his questioning to say that, how many cases have you worked with human trafficking, sex trafficking, where you have retrieved baby oil and Astroglide from a search, from, whatever. Oh my gosh, Brad, thank you so much. You're so kind. And yes, I totally agree. This is the type of lawyer $2 million will get you. So yeah, when Mark kind of said that, how many cases have you worked where you got all this off the street, kind of being sarcastic, and he just goes, this one. Mark is right. The jury kind of smirked. They kind of were just like, yeah, like what? He picked up on that. He knew what had to be done. And I think that is just so smart. And obviously, everybody knows that you don't have to tell people how important the jury is. The jury is everything. Jury selection is everything. But it's also everything to pay attention to these jurors, how they're acting, and so you can connect with them and know the direction that you should go in. So I knew it. I knew he was picking up on what they were putting down. So I'm glad to hear him say that. Okay. Sorry. Tangent over.
And that's one of the things, this is really a trial lawyer thing more than something unique to Combs. Trial lawyers need to get rid of their notes. You're talking to a jury. So be with the jury, be with the jury. Where are they done on this topic? Then move on. If you had another 3 pages, forget it. It's time to move on. And they throw off an energy. There's something about a jury of people all compressed in a jury box that they actually throw off a lot of information. And if you're attuned to it, and you're not staring at your notes and you're looking at them and you're feeling them, you'll know exactly what to do next. And that's what the summation was.
So when you think about the very beginning and your first meeting with Sean Combs, what was it about this case that you said, I really want to represent you? Obviously, you had a lot of experience with racketeering conspiracy, but you didn't have to take this case.
No, I thought he was being targeted. I genuinely did. I thought that he's an outspoken guy. He ruffles feathers, and I thought they were looking to get him unfairly. I really believe that. The government, the government. And I thought he didn't do these things. I mean, I knew, because he was honest with me throughout. I knew there was issues in the past, with domestic violence and with his girlfriends. But that's not what they were looking to charge him with.
He was honest with you throughout. So did you know, before the video was released of Cassie Ventura being slapped and kicked and punched, that happened?
Well, I knew from her lawsuit, certainly, because she filed the lawsuit.
But you also know then that his reaction in the beginning was, this is outrageous.
Before I got involved in the case, I think that I've seen that. Yes.
But when you were involved, that video didn't come out yet.
The video didn't come out.
But when it did, how did that change your relationship or any questions you had about someone you said had been forthcoming and someone that you trusted?
Thank you.
Because
I had known that there was violence between him and Cassie.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I don't know why.
But you didn't know about the video prior to it coming out? I
didn't know that there was a video. I didn't know there was a video.
And when you saw that video, how did you feel personally?
It was a rough day. I remember thinking this is just a terrible piece of evidence. It takes all the guesswork out of
the
aspect of the case. And I remember thinking they're going to indict him. They're not going to start this investigation. Then this video falls into their lap and they're not going to indict him. He's definitely going to get indicted.
Because that played so big in this case, as you know, early on, even the idea of paying someone to make sure that this doesn't see the light of day. Is that something that was revealed to you in any way, shape, or form? Maybe not seeing the video, obviously, or knowing the details of it outside of, okay, this is someone I'm representing who has admitted that there was some violence between him and his ex-girlfriend. But just that idea of paying someone $100,000 for video to bury it so no one sees it. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew that there was a video that the Intercontinental had. I hadn't seen it. Okay. I didn't think it existed. I mean, I thought that, it was sort of taken care of. And that was a mutual thing between, Sean and Cassie. I mean, Cassie had a premiere coming out. Nobody wanted this video leaked. I don't think anyone was concerned about it being a police matter. I think everybody was concerned about it being released on, TMZ or somewhere else.
I agree with that.
When you think about the 34 witnesses that were called, 8 weeks almost, not technically 8 because there were some days we had off, but 8 weeks of this trial, 34 witnesses, and you decide not to call any witnesses. What was it about that final week when we as reporters were trying to figure out, are they going to call so-and-so? Are they going to call another ex-girlfriend? But nonetheless, you did not bring anyone to the witness stand. Why not?
Because what you do as a defense lawyer is you have your sort of checklist of what are the things I want to establish as matters of fact at this trial.
Right.
And if you can do it all through the government's witnesses, you don't have to call your own witnesses. And that's really the issue. So all of the things we wanted to establish, we really pretty much did through the government witnesses.
So that's why you felt there was no need to call any
There's no need to call any defense witnesses.
Did Combs want to testify at any point in this trial?
Yes, he wanted to testify. And, and I told him the same metric. What are you going to say that the jury hasn't heard?
And what did he say to that?
He's like, well, do you think that they're waiting for me to testify? I said, I think they would love Sean Combs to get on the stand and testify.
But what did he say he would have said had he gotten a chance to do that?
I mean, I think it would have been a lot of the things that are in the cross. Cassie and I loved each other. She said that. Cassie and I were sometimes toxic, but we were really in love. She said that. All the different things that he would have said that were by way of sort of explanations or giving context. We got out from the government witness.
I don't know about this. Like, I don't doubt that Diddy was trying to testify and his team was like, yeah, no, I don't think you should. I totally get that. I think maybe I've said this before, but he would have been directly asked about the Kid Cudi arson situation where, intellectually, we can assume that Diddy was responsible for this. However, the investigation, which the defense proved, was really, really crappy, really, really crappy. So, they planted all this doubt in our minds legally that Diddy was responsible, even though it's kind of like, okay, who else could have done it? If he would have gotten on the stand, wouldn't the prosecutors have been like, so did you have anything to do with, Scott Mescady's car getting blown up, et cetera, et cetera? I mean, and by the way, my opinion is that Diddy did send a female to do that, and she totally messed it up. She didn't know what a Molotov cocktail was. That's clearly why his car was in the shape it was in. It was in rough shape, but it could have been way worse because the handkerchief or silk scarf, number one, was silk, and number one wasn't even all the way in the bottle, whatever. Anyway, he could have never, ever taken the stand, I feel like, because of that right there, in my opinion.
Witnesses. And so what I told him is, you don't really have any road to cover that we haven't covered through the crosses. I mean, I was a great businessman. I was a successful businessman. We got that through the personal assistance. We got that through, you're the former CFO. You don't need to get up and say that. And I think he saw that we were right, that we really had brought all these things out in the government's case and that he didn't have to testify.
At what point in this 8 weeks did he feel comfortable agreeing with your suggestion that you should not take the stand?
I don't know that it was any one point in time. Okay. It was probably around halfway through the trial, maybe a little bit more than halfway through the trial.
So he was on board with this idea that, I don't need to testify.
So it's always, let's see how it goes.
Okay.
This is when it comes to for your client testifying, you kick the can down the lane kind of by design.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. It's never over till it's over.
Right.
And we knew the government was going to put on these summary witnesses, and they were going to put all these text messages and all these communications, and let's see how that goes. Let's see how that lands. Can we handle that on cross? Because if we can handle on cross, we'll just take care of it on cross, and you don't have to do it. We thought we handled it all.
He was so active in his own defense. I'm watching Combs many times, taking notes, handing you all Post-its, while you're cross-examining witnesses. How helpful was that? Were there moments where he was very helpful in proving something or changing the narrative or direction that you guys were going in?
So he's a chairman and a CEO, among other things. And he would remember the things we would talk about. So he would just remember to ask this. And sometimes I'm really glad he wrote the Post-it. Sometimes he'll write a Post-it of something that, might be a good idea if it weren't a trial, but not maybe a great idea in the context of a trial. So it was mixed, but he was very active. And you guys are only seeing sort of the tip of the iceberg. I mean, he was a very involved, client in terms of being part of the defense team and, the strategies and sort of the ideas that we had for the best way to present his case. I mean, I thought it was important that the outstanding young women lawyers on our team played a very prominent role. So we had, Tenny do the opening, we had Anna, do the
And that wasn't the original order of things. You said Anna wasn't always going to do the cross.
Right. So I had prepared the whole cross of Cassie. I mean, I prepared the whole thing. And I was here in my office till 2:00 in the morning one night. And I just felt there's something missing. There's some aspect of the trial that I'm not kind of getting to the heart of. And I walked to my apartment. I live in Lower Manhattan near Wall Street. It's like an hour and a half walk. I get home at 3:30 in the morning, and I realize I should not cross Cassie. And I think Anna should cross Cassie. So the next day I call Anna. I go, how do you feel about crossing Cassie? And she's like, she's testifying 3 weeks. I'm like, you can do it. You can do it. We'll get you ready. And she worked really hard, and she did a great job.
She did.
We as journalists were not able to see those sex videos. They were just for the jury. Did those videos, and I want to say it was probably a little over an hour worth of material
That we showed the jury?
Yes.
Right.
Did that help your case
I
more?
thought it did. So one of the alternate jurors was interviewed, and he referred to them as tame. And that's a fair way to put it. They were very, the hotel rooms were beautifully done. It wasn't aggressive. The word tame is not a bad description, and it was eminently, consensual. I mean, I didn't know what these videos were going to be like. They could have been very different in nature and problematic for us, but they weren't. They were just, adults, having very eminently, obviously consensual sex. So I thought they were good for us.
Have you spoken to Maureen Comey since she got let go?
I have not.
When you heard that news, were you surprised? I mean, I know when I
yes.
watched you all before the trial starts, it seems like everybody's very friendly.
Yes,
We are.
You guys are smiling, you're laughing, and then
Yeah.
of course once you go into okay, you're the prosecution, I'm the defense.
I'm sad that what happened to her. I mean, she doesn't deserve that. You know, I mean, she didn't do anything wrong. I don't think it has anything to do with this case. I don't think.
really?
But
What do you think it has to do with?
I mean, I've read it, you know, related to Epstein, you know, but I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to see her go. I think she's a good prosecutor. I think she's a good lawyer. She'll land on her feet. You know, she'll have a great career. But I think what's sad, the saddest part is, I mean, I thought for a while I might be a career prosecutor, you know, and then I had a third kid, and my wife's like, go make some money. You know, so sometimes it happens. I think she wanted to be a career prosecutor, and she should be given that opportunity.
Oftentimes I wonder, as an attorney, do you have any regrets in how you tried this case?
It's a good question. I am one to have regrets, just in general. Not really. I mean, what I told Tenny early on, I said, we have a good chance if we do everything perfectly, but we have to be perfect. You know, every cross-examination has to be perfect. We have to have the right tone. We can't be sort of toned down.
No, so Dizzy, just to add what Lou said, he said that the S videos were tame, and then you said Lauren said they were basically orn. Well, turns out the jury, you know, I don't know if you guys saw it was like the one guy from the UN. He actually said that they weren't that bad. I mean, they were supposed to be like corn, and we kind of thought that maybe that's where initially they were going, because I had said on a couple live streams that we heard moaning. We definitely did in the gallery through the headphones, and I did see one of the jurors, an older lady, kind of go like this. But then, you know, there was a lot of different clips shown to the jury, and I mean, like, I think when all was said and done, it probably was like close to 70 something clips. And this juror said that it really wasn't much of anything. He kind of said it was a lot of baby oil being rubbed on Cassie, Jane, the entertainer. And then I think they were just kind of showing like that Diddy was maybe not involved or directing them, or, you know, whatever. So just to clarify, I think that we initially thought they were much worse than they actually were. So yeah, that's really all it was. And right, this is what I mean. It was like, I think it was mainly just a very personal video. It wasn't anything criminal, but I think the government was trying to say that Diddy was really dictating these videos and directing them. And the defense was kind of showing like, look, these women are enjoying it type of thing. That's my understanding without seeing the videos.
We can't be heavy-handed, you know, with the female witnesses. And if we can do all those things, we have a shot. And I think we were fortunate enough that we did those things. And so I feel like when you're asked about something as intricate and as important as, do you have any regrets or do you do anything differently? And you say no, maybe you're not really answering the question on a deep level. So I'm really trying to think about the question more. But no, we put a lot of thought into this. I don't know that I would have done anything differently.
No, they can't.
You called the relationship between Combs and Ventura a great modern love story. Ventura said she was raped, physically abused, and became addicted to drugs because of Combs. I think that's what makes it. The rape we vehemently deny. And I know I respect that she said that. I don't think the jury concluded that happened. And there's a whole backstory as to why I think she would have made up that allegation, which we said to the jury. So I don't think that happened. And that's a very serious matter. So I'd leave it that one. In terms of the drugs and the other stuff, I think that's what makes it a modern love story. I mean, there's a strong tragic aspect to it. I think they really did love each other. I think she very much loved him, and I know he very much loved her. And what I told the jury, and they all nodded in agreement, I said, if you want some of the most beautiful writing you've ever seen, look at their text messages from when they're breaking up in 2019. I mean, they're just so heartfelt, and just the greatest fiction writer couldn't really write them with kind of the poignancy and the power, and the tragic nature. I mean, these are two people who hurt each other, loved each other, cheated on each other, and it's very apparent to both of them they're just not going to be together much longer. And their writing is just so beautiful and sad around this. So I maintain that that's true. Kind of starting from the beginning, take us inside the courtroom right before the verdict is read. And I can't imagine your heart must have been racing. I don't think many of us, based off of, we're stuck on racketeering conspiracy the night before. In my mind, they needed a little bit of time, not just about an hour.
Yes.
So what was going on?
So the most nervous time for me was when they had verdicts on 4 counts the day before.
Okay.
That was nerve-wracking because I hadn't really processed it. Like, what does it mean? They have 4 verdicts, but they don't have a verdict on the RICO conspiracy count. And then at 3 a.m, it kind of hit me. And I remember thinking, and I actually said to Tenny, I sent her a text, and I said, we're going to make a bail application. It's going to be a good verdict for us. We're going to go down. I think we're going to go down on the prostitution, but we're going to win the RICO and we're going to win the sex trafficking. So let's get our ducks in a row to make a bail application. We need to know like that where the plane is, so that the government's like he still has a plane. He doesn't have access to the plane. We need where the kids' passports, where's his passport. So I actually thought it was going to be a good verdict, and I thought it was going to be quick. So when the verdict actually came in at 10 o'clock, I was probably much less nervous than I am in a typical case, because I remember thinking they acquitted of the RICO, they acquitted of the sex trafficking.
But it's not until you hear those words, right?
For sure.
And when you did hear not guilty on racketeering conspiracy, you did what?
I waited until sex trafficking count 2. That's when I knew it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
They say not guilty on RICO. They can still convict him of sex trafficking, which is a 15-year mandatory minimum just for one count. So I waited, bated breath until that. And then they said not guilty on that. And I said, I bet they're going to say guilty now on prostitution. And they did. And then I'm like, well, could they have possibly convicted him of sex trafficking, for Jane? And they said, no, it's not guilty of that.
Right.
And so, no, but there's nothing like it. I mean, it's the most nerve-wracking, maybe with the exception of the birth of my 3 children, do they have 10 fingers and toes? Are they breathing? It's almost at that level.
Wow. I heard when you were on the elevator, you got in there, you took a deep breath, and someone asked you, how do you feel? And you said, relieved.
I said, I'm relieved that I'm not miserable. And that's the funny thing with these things. If you win, you're relieved, and if you lose, you're miserable. I carry my trial losses with me forever. I dream about them.
Wow.
I dream that the jury's still out, for the losses. The wins are not as good as the losses are bad. The losses are terrible. And the wins are reliefs. So I don't know why I do this for a living, but I'm going to keep doing it apparently.
He is so funny.
Kanye West showed up during this trial.
He did.
When you heard he was in the building, what were you thinking?
I had mixed feelings. On the one hand, I think he was there to support
guys. I talked
Combs,
to this. Let me
roll. So I don't want to.
She asked about Kanye West. Sorry.
He was in the building. Kanye West showed up during this trial.
He did.
When you heard he was in the building, what were you thinking?
I had mixed feelings. On the one hand, I think he was there to support Combs. And so I want to encourage people to support Combs. He certainly has had a lot of people in his life, in the last several years who haven't supported him and, detracted from him and things like that. So I wanted him in the courtroom for that reason. But I also I thought the trial was going well. I thought Tammy and I were having the perfect trial that we wanted to have. And I didn't want to take any chances. And so I thought that seemed like it could be a little risky. What would the jury think? Why is he there? And so,
Right.
so I had mixed feelings about it. But I'm happy that he came, and I'm happy that he supported Mr. Combs.
Even with this case, not quite behind him yet, because there's a sentencing, but the weight of what it could have been, there's still a bunch of civil lawsuits Combs is facing, over 70. Life is not going to be the same. I know he talks about the idea of performing in Madison Square Garden, but he's facing dozens of civil lawsuits if he gets out.
I don't think a lot of them have a lot of merit. I think if they had merit, they would have found their way into the criminal case. The prosecutors, scoured the earth for evidence that I think they thought had merit. And so even more than me thinking that it doesn't have merit, I think if it didn't find its way into the criminal case, the prosecutors didn't think it had merit. And so I think they will all go by the wayside one by one.
It could take years.
It could take years.
And that's a lot of money he's going to be spending.
It's a lot of money. He has the tremendous misfortune of having lawyers around him all the time now. So that's not easy for anybody. So
costs a lot of money.
Costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money, and it's a drag. But ultimately, I think the criminal case really is kind of the one thing that everyone can kind of have faith in. It's anybody can bring a lawsuit, and the government, the government put a lot of work into this case, and it brought charges that it thought had merit, and the jury spoke and said what it said. After really paying very close attention to all of the evidence, we had a very careful judge. It was a very good trial, and so I don't think we're not too worried about the civil lawsuits.
If Sean Combs were sitting right here, what would he say?
He would say, that's a great question. He would say, I have more to give the world. I want to get out, and I want to show the world that I have more to give. I've done things when I was a younger man. I did them in a way a younger man did them. And he'll talk about, he built businesses. He built businesses maybe no one else could build. I don't know that anyone could have built the record company he built and then, made it, a fashion label and sort of like this lifestyle. And I think he has a sense and he has a vision. I was talking to him the other day. My daughter, who's a paralegal with us, Sophia, ran into Mrs. Combs at the jail. And she comes back to me and she says, she's the most glamorous, fashionable woman I've ever met. And she really is. She just has this wonderful sense of fashion. I think in part because her sense of fashion was probably derived from when there was real, not that there's not now, but real glamour. There was a different sense of glamour, in the 50s. And so, I remember some of my grandmother was very fashionable, and I think Sean carries that tradition. And I think he brings it, into an urban arena with urban sensibilities, but he has a great strong sense of fashion and, and glamour. And I think he's going to do great things. And I think he's going to do great things as a mature, older man. He's not a brash 25-year-old.
Older man.
He's 55 and he's been through tremendous challenges. He's lost women he's loved. He's lost being with his 7 kids. And he's had time to really reflect. And he relies on his faith. He relies on being religious. And I think we're going to see a very different Sean Combs. And I think it's going to be wonderful.
Did Sean Combs have a message for Cassie and Jane?
If he did, I probably wouldn't be in a position to give it because the trial's not over.
Yeah.
So I that's a very good question, but one that I can't answer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Jerica, I see you. Those were really great questions. Oh my goodness. And man, I mean, just going back to Mark Agnifilo, man, he is, what a guy. This just popped up because I was actually, just side note, I was going through where 50 Cent was super petty. His level of petty is incredible. He pulled together like every bad statement that Diddy ever said about Trump when Trump was initially asked about the pardon. So anyway, that was a great interview. Jericho was amazing. And Mark Agnifilo, I love so many of his answers just sort of about himself. I mean, he was so honest. Even when he said he takes these losses and he still kind of carries them with him. Like he wakes up thinking the jury's going to change their mind about a case he lost. And I thought it was so funny when he mentioned that he thought he would be a prosecutor forever. And then his wife, they had their 3rd kid and his wife was like, okay, go make some money. That's really, that's funny. But like, it's helpful as I'm watching this, I'm kind of writing down my own questions as to sort of what I would like to know, where I would like to go from, sort of her launch off questions. I think I'd like to peel a few things back just a bit more, but man, that was a really good interview. So I think, at this point, oh wait, shoot. Sorry. I'm answering text messages on my computer. So, I think it would be interesting, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I think it would be fun, obviously, to get an interview from one of Diddy's lawyers that number one is not contracted to speak on a big network. And number 2, one that we haven't really heard from before. So, I was just informed that Alexandra Shapiro, she did go on TMZ on that podcast. I would still like to interview her, but do you think it would be kind of cool to get maybe Anna Esteveo or Patrick Driscoll because they haven't done an interview yet? Or would you rather hear from someone like Shapiro? Let me know. I know. So I totally would like Steele also, but I feel like he's got to be contracted to a network. Let me ask. Is Steele contracted? I figured. I figured he is, but so yeah, I can't get Tenny. I'll just leave it at that right now. I wish. Yeah, I will. I totally will. And I'm going to get somebody. I'm definitely going to get someone because I am so interested. Again, I have so many questions. But yeah, I mean, so with Nicole, I guess I'm less interested right now because she already did an interview. I want to talk to someone who really hasn't done much of any press yet. Nicole has done, 2 or 3 interviews at this point. No, but Driscoll, I have to say, when he first spoke out in court, I mean, he looks so young. I actually thought he was an intern at one point. He looked super young. He was super quiet. We didn't really know who he was maybe until 4 or 5 weeks in when he gets up, in the middle of the morning evidentiary discussion, and he just schools us with case law. And all of us who were sitting in the press row, we were like, who is this guy? He's really good. He is really on it. So trust me, I know it sounds like it could be boring, but he was just so on it. He was so good. So I definitely feel like Nicole, since she was the first lawyer to do these interviews, she was being super careful. And I don't blame her. Totally don't blame her. No, Driscoll and Shapiro, they didn't do any of the crosses because they are on his appellate team, which basically handles, all the appeals and, all they, make sure they preserve all the objections. They were the ones that wrote the motions for the mistrial, etc. So, yes, I have Anna Estevao. I have already planted the seed there. I really like Anna. She's great. She also did a cross at the end. She did one of the HSI agents. So yeah, okay. Jonathan Bach, he is with Shapiro's firm, I believe. And he was interesting. I actually found him to be kind of sloppy in a way. And I don't think it was necessarily his fault. This was sort of the style I think they were going for, because that day there were so many objections with Dr. Don Hughes and so many sidebars. It was so confusing. And I could tell the judge was kind of getting frustrated with Bach, but Bach was doing his job. Like, it was like, and I think that they just confused the hell out of the jury as to why Dr. Don Hughes was even there in the first place. So I get what you're saying about he did kind of lay into her, but I don't know. I'm not super interested in him because he was only there for really one day. I don't think he knows, the ins and outs and all of the like little things that I'm sort of looking for here. But anyway, so let me see. So let's see. Charlucci did not get back to me. That's kind of a bummer because I did want to hear if he had anything to say or anything to add about, what's going on with Diddy, what's going on with these pardons that his team seems to be really back and forth about here. But yeah. So, I mean, does anybody have anything they want to add to the Diddy convo? I will be working on getting a lawyer for an interview. And guys, I will do it. I promise I'll do it. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And, of course, I'll ask you your opinions. The crypto case, these guys are out right now. The crypto case, they're out on bail. I don't know if his lawyers will tell me exactly where they are, their lawyers, but yeah, they were out last week. And they don't go back to court until October. So there's a lot of different hearings now in October. We've got Diddy sentencing, the Gottis go back in October, and the crypto guys go back in October. I so want there to be a trial for the crypto case. But I mean, Manhattan State Court, dude, it takes forever. So who knows? We'll see. And this is really funny, because this is a question that I want to ask. It's funny that you say that. I want to know, why did Anthony Riccio leave the team? Why did he leave the team like 2 months before it went to trial? So that's interesting. Tony Riccio and Agnifilo didn't agree with the approach. Okay. So did somebody say that, or where did you hear that? I'm just curious, because remember how many conspiracy theories were going around about why Riccio left? And I guess it would make sense if it was just like a very simple conflict of interest. And if Diddy picked Mark over Anthony, that would explain why he kind of walked away from so much money, Oh, the race card. Okay. Yeah, they definitely didn't play the race card at all. And they didn't really need to be honest. They did not need to. So I agree. Totally agree. But yeah, so the other thing that I really wanted to go over with you guys today, this is crazy. Let me show you. I had not heard of this, okay? Mario Lopez, who I really like, I had not heard of this defamation suit that was filed against him by somebody who she was known as, I don't think she appreciates this, hence the defamation suit, but she was known as the Shot Cheerleader. Oh wait, Ashley, yes, we did that first. So go back and watch that about Martha and Montauk. So sad, but check that out. Yeah, we covered that first. But this is crazy. So there was this girl who I guess made this video. I think it was back in 2014. She basically said that she had a stroke after getting the flu shot, and it's really crazy. I'm going to play this for you. And I don't know if you remember this, but yeah, I know, the flu shot cheerleader. It's so weird. And I like Mario Lopez. I think he's so funny, and I think he's so down to earth, and he's super real. And so these videos that I'm going to play are so funny and so random. And I cannot find the actual defamation suit, although to be fair, I didn't look very hard. But essentially, and I don't even know if this is a lawsuit, right? Like I am trying to figure out. And yes, he is from, oops, hold on. He is from Saved by the Bell, but he's the host of Access Hollywood. Your boyfriend had a stroke. Okay. Yeah. So totally happens, right? Totally happens. She didn't die. This girl didn't die. She said she had a stroke from the flu shot. And basically Mario Lopez posted this old video, because he does that all the time on his accounts, like where he posts like old videos, you know, whatever. And he said that, you know, he said, quote, "There's got to be some kind of award for this performance, quote, method actor." Okay. And the comments are like, you know, "This video makes me laugh every time I see it. This is ridiculous," you know, whatever. I mean, so I guess she is really embarrassed about this video. And so she asked him to take it down multiple times, to which he didn't. It's still up. And now she's filed a defamation suit. So let me refresh your memory on this video, actually. Let me just make a banner. Mario Lopez, flu shot cheerleader. It's so weird. Defamation suit. Okay. This is the video from his Instagram. So I'll make it a little bit bigger. Sorry. Okay. And let's watch the whole thing, because they do this like weird, it's like a CBS investigate. I don't know. It's just watch it. I'll shut up. Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Ambassador for the Washington.
Hold on. Let me refresh it to have it start. Okay.
Firestorm. Desiree Jennings is the pretty ambassador for the Washington Redskins cheerleading squad, who claimed she developed a rare neurological disorder called dystonia after receiving a seasonal flu shot, causing dramatic spasms and slurred speech.
I just feel sideways, but nothing goes now.
So you used to be able to go sideways?
Yeah.
Desiree and her husband told me they worried they'd never find a cure.
Just wait.
But look at Desiree now. We found her walking normally, playing with her dogs, going shopping, even getting behind the wheel of a car and driving. Hard to believe the woman we've been discreetly observing over the last few weeks is the same woman we met during the height of the flu shot scare. So we wanted to ask her about her remarkable improvement. We've been trying to reach you and you have not been returning our phone calls.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's going on? It looks like you've made a complete recovery.
Well, I don't want to say complete recovery. I still have a lot of cognitive.
Well, okay. So he posted that video, but as you can see, guys, I mean, it seemed like this whoever that was, CBS or whatever news station, they were calling her out. Like they were trying to be like, "We've been trying to get in touch with you. You've made this miraculous recovery here. You know, what's going on?" And she's like, well, she's like, "I haven't made a full recovery, blah, 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 whatever." So I guess she's like super embarrassed about this video. She, you know, she kind of wishes it would disappear from the internet. However, you know, it didn't. So she, I don't know if she was necessarily faking it. I mean, clearly Mario Lopez was, you know, insinuating that she was faking it. So she posted, let me play this. She posted on Twitter, she served him a $10 million defamation suit on Father's Day this year. So let me share this with you. Gosh, stupid thing. Let me share this with you instead. So you can, oh, I did share this with you. Okay. Got turned around. Okay. So awkward. I'm like, ah.
You've been served, Mario. Drop it on the ground. You can drop it on the ground. All right, lawsuit's right there, Mario. You've been served, so it's there. Thank you.
Well,
See you in court, Mario.
I'm sorry.
Oh, hey, happy Father's Day.
I mean, okay. So again, without having this lawsuit, hey, Dizzy, do you mind just doing a quick search? Again, I didn't look very hard, but I could not find it from the quick search that I did. I did not check Pacer, but I should do that. So yeah, so I mean, $10 million for him not taking a social media video down is very weird, very, very weird. But apparently they did have, they were in court, and she's claiming, and this is what's crazy. The headlines are that Mario Lopez lied under oath about being served papers by, quote, flu shot cheerleader. And this is Radar online. And they only have quotes from the flu shot cheerleader, AKA Desiree Townsend. Lucas, you're funny. Is her attorney Tyrone Blackburn? No, it's not. Yeah, I could not find it, Sherry. Thank you. I was just like, what the hell? So they only have quotes from her, Radar, saying that he's lying. So I'm like, oh, why, I don't necessarily know if I love that headline accusing him of lying when you only have one person's side. Love ya too, Ghost. Thank you so much. So where is okay. So apparently and these are the headlines. He erupts in a sweary tirade. I mean, he called her an effing crazy bee. I don't know if that's erupting in a tirade, but yeah, that's all the headlines were definitely kind of going against him. But so apparently in court, they said that she claims he wasn't being truthful on the witness stand when he asked about who else was seen in the video. She says, quote, he lied under oath, claiming he didn't know who the two individuals were in the process serving video, even though he said earlier that his son and his wrestling coach were present. I mean, as seen in the video, Townsend served her lawsuit notice to the star in June and taped their interaction in a video that has since gone viral on its own. In this clip, a shirtless Lopez can be seen in his front yard as an unknown person drops the summons behind the gate of the star. And the Townsend can be heard taunting him, "You've been served, Mario," while telling her partner to drop the note in the ground. All right, lawsuit's there, Mario. You've been served, so it's there. Thank you. See you in court, Mario. He says he calls her an crazy effing bee, to which Townsend fired back, "Oh, hey, happy Father's Day." And then apparently he has filed a restraining order against her because, she came to his house, whatever. Now he argued the need for a restraining order, alleging that Mr. Lopez was harmed by the most recent harassment when Miss Townsend arrived at his home on Father's Day with a process server, causing chaos and fear for his young children and family members who witnessed the event. Now, his family members, they could be inside. It is Father's Day, so I'm guessing that the kids, they're having again, guessing, right? They're probably inside having breakfast, doing their thing, and they see people outside of their home. So I kind of believe that. I believe they were in the house and they were, probably looking out the window. But I will also say this. I don't know if a lot of people tag along with their process server to serve somebody and get a video. Do you guys agree with that? I feel like, and I get it. She's doing this for publicity. Totally fine. That's what we do nowadays. But I do feel like, yeah, I don't know how professional that is to record somebody getting served, with your process server. I don't know if that would necessarily help her in court. I think you could have a great argument being like, this is, just a lawsuit for attention. This is a lawsuit for headlines. This is not real. I guess if you have the money to go ahead and do that, go ahead, you know, fine. But it's like Desiree, I think that's her name, right? It's kind of like if Mario Lopez is stubborn enough to not take this video down, just a simple video, do you think he's really, he's going to give you money? Do you really think that he's going to back down from this? I don't think so at all. And apparently there are reports saying he kind of flipped out in court. Let me find this. I wish this was filmed. I really, really do. But it said he screamed in quote, wild court battle. Again, I don't, let's see. Hate all these ads in this side. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, sorry, my phone's ringing. I'm not getting that. A random 212 number. Or I hope that's not my kid's camp. Let me just see. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I just heard back about Brian Steele. He doesn't do interviews. He likes to keep his mystique. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, fine. Okay. Yeah, so that's the girl. That's Desiree Townsend. I know. Sorry, MJ. I really wish Steele. It's Coach JB. I love Coach JB. You know I love Coach JB. Oh, wait. Is that's I'm like, no, that's not really you. Okay. So Radar is saying that he screamed in court. He came face to face with Desiree Townsend at a hearing to determine if she should be granted a permanent restraining order, or he should be granted a permanent restraining order against her. Allegedly, he yelled at the paralegal in court. So she's accused Lopez of orchestrating a quote smear campaign against her after reposting an embarrassing video. I don't know if that is considered a smear campaign, but again, I have not seen all of the details of this lawsuit, unfortunately. So I can't speak to that whole thing, but if it's just posting that video and not taking it down, I'm kind of like, move on. The actor and TV host finally faced his accuser in court on Wednesday as he argued to have a temporary restraining order extended after she surprised him at his home. And Townsend, okay, this is all Townsend telling Radar. So no press was in the courtroom. Townsend told Radar Online she was the one left feeling threatened after he completely lost it on the witness stand during the hearing. He actually screamed on the witness stand. He was, quote, so pissed, as he categorized it, and the judge had to calm him down. He had a full-blown outburst yelling that I was crazy, unhinged, and a stalker. He stated this all while shouting. We have reached out to Lopez and his attorney for comment. The hearing will resume later this week with Townsend taking the stand to undergo cross-examination by Lopez's attorney. I wonder if that's happening now then. What's the date today? Oh, the 8th. I mean, I guess this is my issue where it's like, I mean, of course. Oh, yay. Hi, Jeff. Guys, Jeff is who I talked about at the beginning of this stream. He's the one that has the mob channel. That's so fascinating, interesting. And I went on with Jeff yesterday and I had a really good time. Jeff is a great host. So subscribe to his channel. He's great. So yeah, I'm just like, okay, Radar Online, totally appreciate that you reached out to Mario Lopez's team for comment, you know, whatever. But it's just kind of like, I mean, why lead with her narrative as a headline? I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that things can be determined or misconstrued and determined to be XYZ by a certain party, and it's just not completely accurate. So, and what did he scream? He screamed that she was a stalker and she was crazy and all this stuff, apparently. So, so yeah, I was looking to see if there was like a hearing today or something. It doesn't, oh wait, there's a court calendar. No, that's weird. All right. But if anybody gets access to this defamation suit, I mean, I guess I can email probably Desiree herself, or I can just email Lopez's attorneys, which you know that I have no issue doing. So maybe I'll do that later. But I just wanted to make everybody aware of this because I really do find Mario Lopez so freaking entertaining. I think he's so funny. I think he is so just real. He is so real that it's like, okay, I'm here for this. Man, I wish this was in New York. I so wish this was in New York. Okay, what else? Well, while we still have time, right, Dizzy? Seriously. Those are the three sort of topics I really wanted to get into this morning. But let me see. Was it worth it to keep the video up? Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Probably not. But oh yeah, I am a huge Saved by the Bell fan, Sherry, and I've actually interviewed Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Kelly Kapowski, and I've also interviewed Zach Morris, Mark Paul Gosselaar. These are audio interviews that I have on the Outlier podcast. You should just search for those. I've interviewed them both. I'm trying to think who else from Saved by the Bell. Yeah, I think that's it. Yes, I love the warm welcome for Jeff. Again, Jeff is great. No, I didn't have a poster of him in my room growing up. I had a poster of JC from NSYNC, and I put my mom's like red lipstick on and I kissed it on the cheek. So I was so dumb. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Let me just silence it. I don't know why my phone never rings and all of a sudden, sorry. Okay. Sorry. On a stream now. This always happens. My phone literally never freaking rings. But will do. So later today, I am going to also record, hopefully today, or if anything, maybe tomorrow, but I will record if people are interested, an update on some of the Boston cases, Brian Walsh, that murder case, and also Miles King as it pertains to Michael Proctor, and just some of the people that I had mentioned with Mark Betterow on Tuesday's stream. So I'll give a very factual and brief update on that. And then something interesting I have coming up for Monday. Oh, Jeff's channel is the Sit Down. Let me pin he's a new member. I'll pin this right now, right there. That's Jeff. But something interesting I have coming up for Monday, and I'm excited about this. But do you guys remember the Netflix doc, The Tinder Swindler? I'm sure you do. But two of the women wrote a book, and I have the ebook right now, and I'm going to read it this weekend. But I'm going to have them come on my well. I think it'll be a pre-record. I don't think I'm going to have them do this live, but I will be interviewing them on Monday about their book and just sort of their experience with the Tinder Swindler. So I was just fascinated by that whole story, and I'm just excited to have these women on. I think they are just really awesome. Oh, hey, Mario. He doesn't age. I think he looks really good. I really do. I think he looks great. Yeah. And again, I'm not trying to say one person is right or not, but I do love Mario Lopez, so we'll leave it there. But I know Maytal, seriously, he was such a fraud, so disgusting. Yeah, Charlucci didn't text me back. That's unfortunate. Maybe he's busy. Who knows? Let me see what else. Oh, do you know who else that you want me to play the video again? You're funny. No, I took that down. It's such an awkward video, especially because like people who actually were affected by the flu shot, and that is horrible if they had a stroke. And Dizzy, I'm so sorry for anything you experienced, and others who said this in the chat. I am so sorry. So I don't really want to make light of it, especially if she wasn't being completely honest. I'm not sure. But yeah. So I also have, do you guys know the actor Marla Sokoloff? I love her. Speaking of old shows like Saved by the Bell, she was on Full House. She was Gia. She's pretty much the mean girl in every movie growing up, and that you know I watched. You guys probably watched. But I interviewed her a while ago on my podcast, and we kind of became friendly. And then she ended up telling me that she is a true crime fan. So we always go back and forth, and we kind of, you know, we'll chat about cases. And she's like, oh, I love Nancy Grace, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, we need to do a live stream, you know, talking about your favorite cases. And she was like, I'm down. So I was like, yes. So probably in like a week or two, Marla's going to jump on once her kids are back in school, and we're going to talk all about, you know, her favorite true crime cases and you know, her career as well. But she's so fun to follow on TikTok and on Instagram. It's a lot of like her family and stuff, but it's not like annoying, like Ruby Frankie mom content. It's like, it's funny. Marla from The Practice. Wait, I don't know who that is. Am I crazy? Marla from The Practice. Oh my gosh, Dizzy. Yes, Nancy was on The Hunting Wives. I was screaming. I loved it. So did you guys watch The Hunting Wives? I finished it. And Nancy is on sort of like, I think it's like the second to last episode maybe, but there's a scene. Hold on, let me just remove this. Sorry. There's a scene where, you know, they're filming one of Nancy's shows, and they're like, cut. And she's like, cut. Like, it's just so funny. It's just so Nancy. I was dying laughing. I was like, this is great. Yeah, Maytal, it's really good. It's good enough. It's good enough. I think I said that. It's a crime show. It's a whodunit, but it's also like, I would say softcore corn, I don't know, lesbian corn, if you will. You know, I didn't mind it. My husband didn't mind it, but there's a lot of that as well. So, yeah, I discussed the Amy Bradley doc on this show, or on this stream, I think a couple weeks ago when it first came out. I was really hoping and excited to like get her brother on, but now he's done so many interviews that I just don't know what the purpose of it is. I'm kind of like, yeah. And I also, something about the Amy Bradley case is bothering me, I think, at this point. And I can't put my finger on it. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not, yeah, I'm just kind of like, I don't know what it is about that case right now. I'm not super as invested in it as when I first saw the doc. And I know that they have no control over how these docs are made, what they take out of the documentary, what they keep in. But there was a lot kind of held from us, per her brother. The fact that Amy had a boyfriend also during the time of the cruise. I mean, all these different things I found to be a little odd. Yeah, no one's fault. I'm just kind of like, I don't know about this anymore. And also, like, I didn't really believe that woman, Judy. The more I think about it, I'm kind of like, Judy, I kind of felt like just wanted to sort of insert herself somewhere. So, you know, the fact that they chose these three people as their like witnesses, you know, the guy that saw Amy allegedly on the beach, the military guy, and then like Judy, I was like, why? I feel like there's other credible people. Yeah, exactly, Ashley. Exactly. Apparently she had a boyfriend. So, yeah, and he's been doing the rounds. And so I'm kind of just like, I mean, are you guys interested in that? Like, should I still reach out and try to do this? I don't know. Yeah, I really am. I'm not sure anymore. So who knows, but it says, seems like no one is talking about Amy anymore. Maybe now the brother would have time. Yeah, I mean, I just like, would it be helpful though? I'm not sure if it would be helpful. Does anybody care? And I don't mean that because that sounds horrible. I just think that what I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to do the interview with her brother for clicks or for views, because I'd rather do an interview with her brother to be helpful. And, you know, to try to push this case forward, but it seems like it's already been pushed out there and everybody is aware of it. And, you know, there's nothing more, I guess, to do from like a podcaster, content creator, journalism standpoint. But that's just me right now. So yeah. So what's everyone doing this weekend? I am actually for once not traveling. Oh, I also want to announce this. I'm not sure the details exactly, but I should have a flyer. But if anybody is in the New York area, I will be on Tuesday night doing this live show with the guys from the Gold Shields podcast. They are former NYPD detectives, worked in joint terrorism. They're amazing, these guys. So we're doing it at this restaurant in Washingtonville, New York. I had never heard of Washingtonville, but I'm about an hour. So I'll drive there and we'll be doing a live show on Tuesday, which is that August 12th, I think. Am I crazy? Yeah, I think it's the 12th. So I'll post about it on Twitter. And, you know, I will see if I can. That's a good idea. I will see if we can do it live, if they can sort of stream it from our YouTube as well. I'm going to text them that today. That's a great idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Thanks, guys. You guys are so good. And Dizzy, I had one more question since we're like here live. You sent me all of those emojis for members. Can you upload those to the YouTube or do I have to do it? How does that work? I'm so bad with this. I want to make sure I get those for the members, all those fun emojis that you made. So let me know because I have no idea like what I'm doing when it comes to that. So yeah. Okay, sounds good. Sorry, I'm responding to like the random people that are hitting me up this morning. It's so weird. Like so weird. I'm kind of like, wow, all of a sudden people are calling me. Let me see if that 212 number left a message. Oh, it's my dentist office because I have a dentist appointment on Monday. Okay, cool. Oh, the other funniest thing ever, by the way, is whenever I do someone else's channel, like, or I'm on someone else's show, somebody will comment about my teeth. And by the way, I think that StreamYard, they have, it's some kind of filter that makes my teeth like maybe look whiter or bigger, whatever. But people are like, oh my gosh, her teeth are like XYZ. And then someone will comment like, oh, they're veneers. And they're so certain. Like these people are so confident that I have veneers. And I want to scream, bitch. I did not have braces from 3rd grade to 8th grade for you to tell me that I had veneers. Not only did I have braces, okay, I had the elastics, all right, that were attached and like talk about a loser. Talk about an adolescent girl who had to endure braces for 5 years. So internet trolls can be like, they're veneers. I'm like, okay, all right, guys. If you're really confident about that, fine. But yeah, nope. Like, please. So anyway, I know I am so not tech savvy. So Dizzy, yeah, let me know about those emojis just so my members can get them because I just don't understand how it works at all. Yeah, so everybody who had the braces with the elastics, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, if anybody says something to you like, oh, you have veneers, it's like, nope, no, I didn't. I went through a lot of pain and my parents drove me back and forth like an hour to the orthodontist. God, yeah. So for 5 years straight. So anyway, all right, Dizzy, thank you so much. Yeah, just let me know what I need to do because I want to upload those for people. So no color. I mean, I have brown eyes, so no colored contacts at all. But that would be cool if I could put like green contacts in or something. I don't know. Just for fun, whatever. But anyway, guys, happy Friday. I'm going to sign off now. Look up Secret Service Sam if you want at noon. I'll be going on with him in about 30 minutes. And yeah, next week, I've got some good interviews coming. Like I said, I'm excited for the Tinder Swindler girls. I'll also be releasing an interview I did this week with criminologist Dr. Catherine Ramslin. You guys might know her. I did ask her about Brian Kohberger, and she was not allowed to answer. I don't think that they really appreciated that, but I had to try. But yeah, she's good. So I'll be releasing that interview next Wednesday, I think, because there's an embargo on that for a show she's promoting. But yeah. So I've got some good content coming up. So anyway, yes, Sheila, from the Brian Kohberger case, but yeah, she just can't talk about it. She's talking about a different serial killer with me. And you will find out next week. So yeah, I don't know why she can't answer. I literally don't know why. She just said I can't talk about it, and she asked me to cut out everything that she said. What I asked her is, I asked her if she felt like Olivia Gonzalez got to Brian Kohberger with her victim impact statement. And I could tell she was super uncomfortable answering me. She was like, but she did say yes. She said, yes, I think she got to him. And then I was like waiting for her to like elaborate, and she wouldn't. And then she's like, can you like not use this? And I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, no problem. You want me to cut all this out? And she's just like, yeah, you know, she was like, you said this was an unrelated question. So I just thought, you know, you meant like off the record. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't really mean off the record, but I'll cut it out. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Maybe again, sometimes these people are contracted with big networks that pay them, so they can't, I don't know, not sure. But anyway, she's still fascinating. You're still going to love the interview. Yeah, so that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching, for listening. I appreciate you all. And thank you to those who have become members, who gift me those super chats. It's so nice. And Dizzy, you're the best. Love you all. Sherry, you're awesome. Sheila, Daishi, all of you guys, you're great. So Maytal, happy weekend. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one. Oh, bye, Mom. Hope you're loving, I think you're in Martha's Vineyard or the Cape. But Jack, see you guys later. Bye.